experience sitting on the other side to judge the EIA process because I'm currently chairman of the Maharashtra State Environmental Prize and Provision, expert of present committee. So I have some experience of the three aspects of EIA, doing EIA and accrediting consultants and seeing how they perform. I must say that the scheme is evolving. It's on the board now. We have gone through the procedure of screening nearly 375 consultants, out of which 128 have been accredited, but not necessarily completely. Some of them in the initial stage provisionally, because we have to keep the process going. As Mr. Mosker said, if you apply a too tightened procedure, then you may not get even 50 qualifying. So initially this has been done with a little bit of relaxation. Slowly this will get tightened. The procedure is very rigid in the sense the qualifications are prescribed and experience, number of years of experience are prescribed. So if they don't fall into that, it doesn't matter how big they are, the person does not qualify. So that's one of the problems in the scheme, and I will tell you why it is a problem. An EIA coordinator in generally is a kind of a overall coordinator. He need not be an expert in depth of everything of elements of EIA, including air, water, and all that. But he should understand the rules of the EIA, why it is the sectoral experience and sectoral aspect of it, what are the elements he has to concentrate. So that way, and it is limited to certain sectors. EIA coordinator doesn't mean he can do any sector EIA. The EIA coordinator will be accredited for certain sectors for which he has adequate knowledge and experience. And whereas functional area experts, they are experts of finer aspects of EIA, meaning he could be for air quality, he could be for air pollution and control, water pollution, solid waste management. So they are functional area experts. There we go into the details of qualification, experience and their knowledge much more so into the finer aspects of it. If he is only doing monitoring, then we can only say he can handle quality but not necessarily control. Control would mean including certain aspects of how do you design certain things for mitigation. So this is functional area expert. And we are at the accreditation committee, the Apex Committee of Accreditation, we are dictated, today we are guided by the assessor's remarks. They go to the field, they go to the office, meet people and give us a report like AICG does. And then we sit at the QCI as a committee, and the committee has very varied experienced people, including Mr. Chandrabhushi from CSE, Professor Vashni, so they are all here, Mr. Pantosh Jagi as a technical committee. And we deliberate looking at the reports of assessors, and there can be some, across assessors there can be some differences. One assessor can be strict, another assessor can be liberal. So we have applied certain normalization procedure, we overrule, but we have to give reasons. If an assessor has recommended and we overrule, we have to put a reason and transparent reason, consistent and transparent reason to reject it or approve it. And whatever we decide, we make sure that same yardstick is applied to all the assessors. This is a very important thing. We don't apply differential yardstick whether it is a big consultant, small consultant, or it's mining or building. No, we apply the same yardstick. And one of the problems we still face is some of the big institutions are not still on board. For example, many of the IITs. I don't think none of the IITs is also on board. If some of the CSR laboratories which are very capable of certain sectors, for example, to be specific, National Institute of Oceanography, they have not come because the scheme demands that you need to have a holistic experience of EIA, not just a small portion of EIA. If NIO comes, he has to do air, water, social, not only marine but also terrestrial ecology and biodiversity. So if they don't have, they don't qualify. So they don't come in knowing that these are the limitations. Now we are trying to find out they can join hands with, this scheme provides, you can join hands with some other organization and we are evolving some procedures. So this is still a problem. For instance, you don't have anybody for nuclear because nobody has come, PRC has not come. So if such an organization, how do you evaluate, how will you proceed with the EIA in the regulatory regime is a question. And one of the problems we do face in terms of accreditation is that the authenticity of the people involved, because there is a minimum number which is required, threshold required. You should have that many in-house experts and you can have empanel panels to fill the members to fill the gap. But you will find that the documents produced are petty vouchers like salaries. These are really like a petty voucher used as a salary slip. They do not have appointment letter, they do not have any TDS, they don't have official appointment letter or acceptance letter. We are not accepting such documents as an evidence to say that a person is in-house. We are not accepting it. And there is a problem, and the institutes are fighting against us. They are coming for grievances, saying that we are small, we cannot afford to do, and our salaries are low. There are consultants for 10,000 to, with 25 years experience, he's paid 10,000 rupees per month. So we don't know how good, how authentic it is. These are certain problems. And looking at the report, what is the impact of that? Impact of that is, it is created an awareness. We are insisting that the consultant should own the program, both the consultant and the organization should own it. But the problem is, still, it is far from over. We have just started the procedure, quality procedure, and when I sit as the committee member in the EAC, I still find the cut and paste goes on, and two projects have identical graphs, identical Google images, sometimes even with the name of one organization in the other, and we are reporting to EMOIA. And as a chairman, I direct the Environment Department, please report this to EMOIA and with a copy to QCI. And it should be done, you should follow. This is very important. You should follow these minutes and find out why these things happen, and we should raise, because they themselves admit, sir, nobody has raised such objections in the past. So why are you, this is a very small thing. But the weakest link still in EIA is, there are two areas. One is ecology and biodiversity and social and economic. You do any project, and I have come across a project on, which is abatching a Sanjay Gandhi National Park. And the guy says, the plot is outside this park, there is no wildlife. You know, you go to IIT, there are notices in IIT Powai saying that don't go in the night because there are leopards coming in. And this is in a big society, very big developmental society, and it says in that site there is no wildlife. So that is the level of understanding. They conveniently, it's not that he doesn't know that area of EIA is much broader than the small plot site, but he conveniently tells you that there are no wildlife. And like that you can see these things happen, and many times social and economic will be just a small 3-4 lines, hardly anything in most of the EIAs. And now we are telling them go and redo those parts and come back. The proponent is upset because he thinks he has done a very good job of doing hazard analysis, ASOP and things like that for a chemical industry. Then he gets caught on something which he is not a specialist. So this is the real truth. We are at different angles. At QCI, we find that we have consultants trying, saying that you are too harsh, you don't recognize our experience. Some of them have 30 years experience, they claim, on social, but his qualification is botany, we don't recognize him. Because we can't recognize a person with botany as an expert on social issues. And that is the rule, that's what the rule prescribes. So how can you do that? So there are pressures from consultants and the ministry, because we have very limited consultants. Even today, 375 only for such a large country, and we are now accredited only 128, that too provisionally. And the surveillance has started. I don't know how many are going to face the dance music in the surveillance. So these are the real issues we are facing, and I would like to answer.